Mio here. I wanted to tell you a little bit about how we make the Souls and Stardust podcast. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, so let me explain. It's free, and they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can actually make money from your podcast as well with no minimum listenership. So it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome to the Souls and Stardust podcast. I'm Mio.
And I'm Shannon.
We're two soul sisters navigating through our human experience on a journey towards healing. Join us for a candid and fun discussion on all things spiritual, soulful, intuitive, and magical.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us again. Today we wanted to talk about this idea of surrender and what you would do, what to do when you don't know what to do. I know, it's funny, but that's the best way I can describe it. When you are feeling really lost or stuck in life and you feel uncomfortable, you know something's like brewing under the surface, but you don't know what it is, you can't put it into words, you just know there's something about ready to shift. And this happens a lot with people in their spiritual awakening. Like they feel that discomfort, they know there's something more, something's about ready to unfold. And it can feel very scary. It can feel uncomfortable. It can make you feel unhappy. And a lot of people come to me for Reiki for their energy rebalancing. But they also come for clarity. I see people for physical ailments, but I also see them for emotional healing and release, mental healing and release, and also spiritual guidance. And those people that are coming, they're looking for a way to feel unstuck and to have a little bit of clarity on their direction to go, because they just don't understand what's happening for them or what's next, or they know they're meant for something new or something different, but they just don't understand what that is.
But you can feel it. Yeah. It's like you can feel it on the precipice of like it's there. It's like
yes. And it's really uncomfortable. And I can talk about my personal experience once we get into this idea more, but it can be very unsettling. It can cause you to feel like you're going crazy, right? This whole idea of spiritual awakening, like why am I not happy with my job? Why am I not happy in my family situation? I have wonderful friends. What's going on? Why do I feel such discomfort? And typically it's because you're getting ready to level up, or you're getting ready to step into this next phase of your life, what you came here to do. So we all have this blueprint of what we designed before we enter into our body. We go through this design process with our counsel, and then we have all these different things that we want to tackle and all the different ways or possibilities that can happen. And so then we come into our bodies, we forget all of that because that's part of the game
amnesia.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we wouldn't learn anything if we knew what we came here to do. So part of the game is to rediscover yourself as a soul and that feeling, or that being led to your life's purpose, which we can have lots of different things that we do in our life that all work together for our life's purpose. And it's about lessons too. So we don't remember what it is we came here to do. And you get to this point where you're moving through life and you just feel unfulfilled. Even though all of these things are amazing for you, you're married, or you have a great relationship or a great job, you have a family, you have loving friends, you just feel that there's something else or something missing. So I see quite a number of people in my practice who are looking for that kind of clarity, looking to get unstuck, or looking to feel less lost or have more direction.
Find their purpose, or find the thing, or figure out what it is that hole in their heart, or
yeah,
whatever.
Yep. Even if it's the next steps, right? That help to give you that sense of direction so you can feel a little more peace and excitement about where you're going, as opposed to like trepidation or stress or fear. I have a lot of people who express being very afraid of the unknown because
Yeah.
what if it doesn't work? What if I fuck it up? What if I'm even more unhappy? Well, what if? Those are
Well,
all
you can fuck it up by
possibilities.
not making any action. Like
Exactly,
that's,
right?
to me, that's the bigger fuck up, is like not doing anything,
Yeah, and
right?
a lot of
Taking
people
action.
are, yeah, a lot of people are paralyzed by that uncertainty. And I, like, for one, I can attest to that. And I will, talk about that when I talk about my personal example of this whole process of surrender. So what I tell people when they come to me with this kind of situation where I don't know what I'm doing, I feel really stuck, can you just give me some guidance? First, I tell them, well, there are infinite possibilities for how you step through this and into the next phase. And it's not me who gets to tell you that, right? So, like, a lot of times people will come expecting me or any other psychic or any other healer to have the specific answer. So, you don't get to take the easy way out and just ask somebody, what am I supposed to be doing? And then they give you an answer. Because, and that's a topic for a whole nother day, of like giving your power away, right?
Mm-hmm.
You create your own destiny. You came here to live your life. You deserve a purpose for yourself before coming. So you get to figure that out. We can have people who help us along the way. And trust me, I tap into a lot of different folks just for little pieces of the puzzle, but I trust myself now to do the heavy lifting on that, and my connection with spirit in the universe to guide me through that process. So the first thing I tell them is, okay, I'm gonna help you, but I'm not gonna give you the answers because it's not for me to do that. Like, you get to discover those answers. And then I tell them too, you have to be prepared to really give up control and to surrender this process to God, the universe, source, the divine beloved, whatever you want to call it, right? It's that guiding source energy that we're all connected to that is providing the platform for us to learn our lessons and grow as souls. So you have to be prepared to relinquish control, resistance, surrender to the path unfolding. So there you go. And usually when I say that, people, their eyes get all big, like, I don't know if I can
What?
do that. This is very scary. And what if? And I'm like, okay, that's where you have to stop for
Yeah.
right now.
It's like that visual of like, but I'm holding everything so tightly and so together that if I
Mm-hmm.
let any slack, if there's any room for anything, I feel like it's all going to crumble and fall apart or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, okay, there needs to be that catalyst for change. Sometimes you can't steamroll through it, right? So what we talked about, you can't always, that's forcing and not
Yep.
aligning. when
Square
you
peg, round hole.
when you're like, but it'll fit, yeah, when you pound it in there. um so it's
Yep.
like, versus letting it be led to the proper alignment, surrendering the control, going, I don't have all the answers, I don't know what to do, but
Mm-hmm.
I am fully trusting in you, the process, the source, the energy, the
Mm-hmm.
momentum of where this is going. Just to let it things to naturally develop and see what unfolds, see like the opportunities that come, the
Yep.
people that come your way. It's
Yep.
so much easier when you're not fighting it.
Yes. So the whole analogy of like stepping into the river and
I was
standing
seeing a
there.
river in my head. Oh, that's funny. I should
Yeah.
have said that. I should have said it out
Yeah,
loud.
we're super connected, so that doesn't surprise me. It's the analogy of standing in the river and trying to stay upright, fighting the current, as opposed to laying back and
And just,
floating and letting the current take you. And you get to look up at the sky while you're doing it and admire it as if it's all magic, right? So the third thing I tell people after they say, you've got to surrender and are you ready to do this kind of thing? I say, you have to believe in magic, because I
Mm.
promise you, if you do this, it will happen as if it's by magic. So, of course, they don't believe me, right? I mean, I think some people do, but I didn't believe it until I took it seriously and did it. And then it all unfolded very magically, very quickly. So now I'm a firm believer, and I use it as a tool for my clients to use. And so what I do is I tell them, you got to write a letter to the universe. And some people think it's about manifesting. Oh, I'm going to manifest my future. And it is kind of, but it's not. This is more about
Like,
surrendering.
yeah, I feel like, so, when you do yoga, I feel like manifesting is more on that flow yoga where it's energy and it's active and you're engaging things because you're setting
Mhm.
intentions and you're like,
Mhm.
right? Versus the surrender is when you're 3 to 5 minutes each pose, you're letting the energy roll through you, you're releasing, you're finally relaxing, you're
Yes.
getting all of the pieces to move more freely, the pieces, the body
Mhm.
parts, whatever.
Yep, I do. I think that's a great analogy. And I think of manifesting as I've got my eye on something in particular, and I know how that will feel. And I'm going to focus on that particular thing and that particular feeling because I want to magnetize that to me. This whole letter to the universe, when you're in a place of feeling stuck or lost, you don't know what the fuck you want, right? You don't know
Okay.
what's coming. You just feel shift happening and it's scary. So you don't even know what to focus your energy on to manifest because you don't know what's going to make you happy. So I see this process of writing a letter to the universe different than manifesting because you don't really necessarily know what it is you're asking for or what would make you happy. So I try to explain that to clients, like, this is really about, this is really, really about laying yourself bare to a higher power and saying, please show me the way. I
Hmm.
am ready. I'm ready for the next steps. Show me the way. So this is the elements of a Dear Universe letter. And that's how I title it specifically. It's Dear Universe. And then I sign it sincerely, Shannon Amberg. I look forward to how the magic unfolds. So it's a very formal process for me.
Okay.
And what I tell people is you want a quiet space to do this, and you want a pad of paper because you don't know how many pages you're going to need.
Pages, yeah.
And the last letter to the universe I wrote, I took 4 pages to write out what I was feeling and what I was hoping for, how what I was looking forward to stepping
Okay.
into. So, dear universe or source or God or whomever, what you want to do is you want to lay out what's going on for you right now. And of course, the universe knows this already. But what's really important is for you to acknowledge on pen and paper, or with a pen on paper, that you're feeling this way. Because
Okay.
it's no longer a feeling or a thought floating in your energy field. It's something real that you're writing on
Okay.
paper. It's called light grounding it, right? So you make it real, tangible. Someone can pick that paper up and read it. So it's real, bringing it into the third dimension.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this is,
dang. Okay.
yep, it's
All
really
right.
important. Anytime you're doing any kind of intention work or writing like this, even manifesting, you want to write that shit out and you want to speak it, because your voice, you're the only one in the entire universe with your vocal cords in your soul essence. You are
Ooh, yes.
you are one unique person. And when you speak that, that is the most powerful thing you can do as an energy body, right? Like, when you're speaking your intentions, you're commanding your energy, you're the only one with that light signature, and source is going to
Oh,
listen to
dang.
that. I know, it's
Okay.
super powerful. So you
That's
write
really
your
cool.
stuff down and you speak it. So with pen and paper, you lay out what's going on for you. Dear universe, I feel really lost. I feel really stuck. I feel really confused. And quite honestly, I'm scared. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I need to be doing something different, but I have no idea what that is. I'm unfulfilled in my work. I'm unfulfilled in my relationship. Like, you can use this for all aspects of your life. So you're making your, not that you have to make a case, but you're just explaining to the universe, here's where I am feeling. This is what I'm feeling. You bare your soul to the universe. So once you're done laying that out and you say, I'm ready for something new. I'm ready to step into the next phase of my journey. And so when you say it that way, when you write it that way, that's a really strong intention. I am. Any kind of statement like that, I am, is saying I am in my physical body, my energy body, my emotional body, my spirit body. I am ready. You're telling your universe, I'm ready to move if you showed me the way. So the next part that you say in your letter is you want to tell the universe, I'm ready to bring in these types of experiences into my life. So focus on how you want your life to feel. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to feel happy. I want to feel like I'm surrounded by supportive friends and family. I want to do work where I'm in service and help people. I want to create things. I want a life where I am able to balance fulfilling work with spiritual growth. You know, you say, okay, those were wants. They're not necessarily feelings, but you want to focus on what you want to feel. I want to feel calm. I want,
feels like what I want to feel grounded. I want to feel stable.
Mm-hmm.
I want to feel consistent. I want to feel
I want to feel
self-sufficient, whatever.
Confident.
Confident.
Yep.
Oh God.
I want to feel love. I want to feel embraced. I want all of these things that you would imagine being ideal for you. And notice it's not particular things that I'm saying, right? It's not, I want a Mercedes, you know, it's not, I want a job making $108,000 a year, right? So, and we'll talk about why we don't make statements like that too. So you focus on what you want to feel like, not what you think it should look like, because the universe is going to do that work for you. The next thing you would do is you would include items that you feel like need to be in place for you to feel comfortable. And you do this without so much specificity. So for example, you would say, like, if you're not happy in your work and you're saying to the universe, I'm ready for a shift. I don't know what that will be moving into, but I know that I need to make an income that supports my family in a comfortable way, right? And that's a very different statement than saying, I absolutely need to have $200,000 a year, right? Because you don't know how this is going to play out. You may end up moving to a different location where it's a lot cheaper to live and you can live on half of the income that you think you need, right? So you want to focus on statements like, I need an income that supports my family in a comfortable way. I need to have a work-life balance that allows me to feel peaceful and calm. I need a mate that is emotionally available and present to my needs. So you think about the things that you want to have, so rather than specific parameters, right? So I need to like, I didn't say I need to have a man that's 6'4" and dark hair. Although, you know, that might be nice, right? To have that.
Someone, yeah.
But really, does it matter what he looks like if he is going to be emotionally available, sensitive to your needs, able to listen and hold you in a space where you can be open and authentic, right? Like, does it matter what he looks like? Well, you know, it might.
I mean, it helps, but the other, like, vibing with your soul and who you are and speaking your language.
Yep. And in actuality, right, like you could be attracted to a lot of different types of people if those core things are in place. So you would focus on those things that you really feel like you need to have in place to feel safe to take the steps that you would need to take. So you're laying out this is how I feel. I'm unhappy, unfulfilled. And then you say, this is how I want to feel. And I'm ready to step into that. So you're basically making a deal with the universe. I am ready. Show me the
I am
way.
ready.
And then you say, by the way, here's a few things that will make it easier for me to transition in this scary space. So if you can make sure that I am supported in all the ways that make sense and would help me to feel secure,
Okay.
I am game for doing this.
Okay.
So you can start to see how this letter to the universe might be a few pages long as you're like laying out how you feel, what you want to bring in. The key though is focusing on what you feel and what you want to feel, and then not getting too specific. And here's why. Like, you don't want to say, I need X amount of dollars every year, because then that limits you. What if an opportunity comes that would be meaning you make quadruple that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you say, I want this amount of money for a new job, then the universe says, fuck. So we had all these possibilities, but she's saying here that she only wants this. So it narrows the possibilities, if you can understand that. So what you want to,
you're totally limiting yourself.
yeah, and that's a very rudimentary example of how you can be limiting yourself, but like the same could be said for potential mates. Like, he's got to be so tall or have dark hair or has to be rich or whatever. Like, all of these things that are pretty, when you think about it, they're kind of superficial, right? When you want to like think about how you want to embody yourself in a relationship with someone, there's things that are more important than money and looks for most people. So you want to make sure that your options are open, so you don't include a lot of specifics. Instead, you focus on what it would feel like to have that person. Like, what do it feel like you value? What do you value? You want to focus on those things. And that's because our human brain, bless us all, right? But our human brain is very limited in what we conceive of in terms of possibilities. Whereas
visualization
it's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what the universe knows is
yeah,
possible.
we're usually painting it black or white, good or bad, something contrasting, instead of we paint it with the lens that we see through, definitely.
Yeah, and you can also use the example of the light spectrum, right? So the light spectrum, we can only see a small part of the light spectrum as humans. Animals see a whole other part of the light spectrum, and then we know scientifically that it's really wide what exists on the light spectrum.
Yeah, so many different layers and levels of shit that we can't see with the naked eye, like but that certain cameras, certain filters, certain technology can pick up on.
So just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not real or possible. And that's how the universe works. Like, this is where the surrender comes in. You have to be willing to say, I'm not in control of this. I can tell you what my order is. And like, you're putting in an order for food or whatever. I can tell you what I hope for and what I want and what's going to feel good to me. But you get to surprise me with how that's going to look, because there are infinite number of possibilities of how that can be delivered to you.
Like, while you're saying that, what I see in my head is when you go to a restaurant, and if you go with the open mind of like, I'm in the mood for Thai, but it's just like, I don't care. Like, I'm hungry and I'm agreeing to go here and I'm looking forward to it, versus when you go in and you're looking for a specific dish that is so specific, but then in the back of your head, you're still comparing it to the best one you've ever had, or your idea of what you should be experiencing. And then you get it and you're disappointed, or expectations met, or whatever. But it's like a totally different mindset versus like, dude, I'm just hungry. I just want to go like wherever.
Right.
Like, as long as I get fed.
Yep. What's possible to experience. And that's, the essence of why you would do this is like, I'm stuck. I don't have the answers. And why would we, right? Like, we're meant to discover
expected to have the answers and to know all
Right.
this and to know what to
Right.
do. Like, there's no freaking manual for this shit. Like,
No, there really isn't. And what, like, part of what we come here to learn is how to discover that within ourselves, that we can be led through this. It's about rejoining or remembering our partnership with the divine intelligence that has helped us figure out what we want to learn each time we come
mhm.
around. So writing a letter like this, it's, you can see how it's the ultimate act of surrender, where you're just
Yeah,
like, I know that you're going to help me. And it's like a plea, but it's not. It's basically saying, okay, I'm ready to not be so arrogant about how to direct my own life. I'm ready for the magic. I'm ready to engage with how this can be very synchronistic, and how things can show up to guide me through this.
yeah. And I see it like so back in the church too, it's almost like the act of how people would give their life to Christ. And it's like that's the same mentality, because that's the same act of faith. It's the same surrender of like, okay, God, whatever you have intended for my life, or
Mm-hmm.
in this situation, however you're going to get me out of it, or however I need to be guided through this storm or through this or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar, and that's why I always say, like, it's not a religious thing, it's a spirit thing, because it's the act of faith, it's the act of letting
Exactly.
go, it's the act of thinking you have it all figured out and going, okay, I really don't, and I'm open, and I've set the intention to open myself up to say, okay, let's get in the car and drive, let's see where this
Yep.
goes. Let's just,
Yeah.
our goal is to have a memorable road trip and fun times. Like, let's just get in the car
Mm-hmm.
and go and see where it takes us, or whatever.
and and I think that it's perfect that you say, let's just see what happens, let's have fun, right? Because
Hmm.
once you do this, once you take this step, it's like you get to surrender your fear and anxiety about it too, and you start to embrace this idea of like, you know what, I'm gonna be supported whatever comes up. I always have a choice. And let me also
Always.
tell you, like, so when you write a letter to the universe, things will happen quickly, because you're basically saying, I'm ready for this. Please help me. Or come on, divine entourage, it's time. Like, I'm
Divine.
listening now, right? I know, I love that term too. But I will tell you, things will start to happen and you have to be prepared to take the steps, right? So you can't just put in your order and then be like, oh, but I'm not going to do the work, right? Like,
Right.
because when things start to happen, it will only happen a couple steps at a time, and you won't be able to see where it's headed until you actually start moving in that direction.
Yeah, I see, like, so in my head when you speak, I get visual images of stuff, and I totally see, like, when I'm driving through the hills, and you're around the curve, and you're like, the
Yep.
direction that you're going, there could be cars coming up, whatever, but you're just kind of like, all right, I'm just going to hug the curve and keep pushing forward, because I know I'm going to be able to see the next step ahead of me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so a really easy example of this is like, let's say you write a letter to the universe, trying to let the universe know you're ready for a very intentional, committed relationship, right? Something that feels very fulfilling. And so you write your letter, and then all of a sudden you start getting these invites from your friends to go to different places and do things that you like are kind of outside your
Normally,
comfort
yeah,
zone, right? And your
yeah,
first instinct is to say, no, I'm not interested. But you just wrote that letter to the universe, and you know that the universe works magically. What if you going to whatever with your friends allows you to meet somebody who then allows you to connect with another person that's your
yep,
freaking soulmate twin flame, right? Like,
right.
who knows? Another topic for another episode, right? But so, like, you have to be willing. Again, that's a very simple example. You have to be willing, once you make this write this letter to the universe, you have to be willing to take the steps as
Yeah,
they present. And then I also will say, like, because people will be like, well, I'm afraid. How do you have the courage to do that? That's a big deal. And the universe is never going to give you more than what you can handle, and you always have a choice, right? just because you decide not to move right away toward, whatever comes your way, another opportunity will come by, right? You're like, what is for you won't go by you.
Yeah.
It just means that like, if you're not ready, when you say you're ready and then you like kind of back off again, everybody's got that fear. It just means that the universe has to like reorchestrate and recalibrate. And then, the next opportunity comes along. But when you get to that point of like, I need your help, show me the way, there's a certain amount of faith that you have to have in the universe.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to take these steps, but you have to make sure that I am supported in
you
this.
have to, yeah, faith in action too. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. And I will tell you, each time that I've done this, I have never been let down by the universe. Like, I think back and still in like magic and wonder, like I've never been let down. I'm just sneezing. See? So those are the basic elements of writing a letter to the universe. And what I do is I actually make a promise. I promise if you show me the way, I promise I will move. I will take the steps. I will do what is asked of me because I know it will be worth it. And then I write, I end it by saying, I appreciate you. I love you. My heart is open to the magic. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. And I say thank you in advance, right? Like it's all about gratitude. And then I actually like fold the letter up and I put it in an envelope and I just tuck it away like in a closet for safekeeping. Like I have all my letters that I've written to the universe over the last 4 or 5 years. I know. So that's the basic structure of writing a letter to the universe. And do you want to hear my experience with it? Like my most mind-blowing experience?
Yeah, because I'm going to write one probably this weekend. I'll write one and then tuck mine away, and then we can follow up on how many things have come into alignment as a result of that. And then I feel like anybody else that wants to join me too can totally, let's all write our shit together.
Yep. It could be like a challenge that we do. And then people can check in to, let us know how it all worked out. And
I love hearing this stuff. So.
I know the feedback it's been so interesting and fun to see how people are actually taking in this information and then applying it to their own lives. But I think I've told a little bit of this story in a past episode, but many of you know, I used to be a college professor and I spent a long time in school, have a doctorate. And, when you get your doctorate, there's like a couple of main jobs that everybody expects you to have. You're either going to go into research or you're going to go into academia. And, I just kind of was going along that vein, right? I didn't really know what I was going to do with my doctorate. I didn't really actually plan on getting one, but I didn't have anything better to do, quite honestly, when we were where we were. My husband was getting his and I had the opportunity, so I figured I better take it. So I finished before him, which is ironic as well. And then I got a job at a Big 10 Tier 1 research institute in Indiana. Some of you may already know just by that description. And everybody's dream job, right? I mean, to get that kind of a job fresh out of grad school, I hadn't even graduated yet. And I got that job before I had been given my degree. So that was just astounding. Well, I got there and I realized quickly, it's a very stressful situation. It requires a certain type of person, and me being empathic was very, very hard for me to be in an institution like that. And then I ended up transitioning out of that job into something different, but still research related. And so I did that a couple of times, and I ended up as a teacher in Wisconsin, and I love teaching. But and during all of this, my degree is in natural resources, but I taught environmental studies, all kinds of topics in environmental studies. But so all through this time, over the last 15 years, I've been going through my own spiritual reawakening, right?
Yeah.
So it's really starting to brew within me this need to do something. I need to be doing something different, but I don't know what that is. And so for me, I just moved to different positions thinking that would help it. Right.
Okay.
So my most recent job in academia was at a teaching intensive institution. and I love teaching. But for like the 3 years that I was there, I was just consistently exhausted, and I knew that there was something more that I was supposed to be doing, and I liked it, but I didn't love it, and I felt really down a lot. And finally my husband's like, "Are you even happy doing this?" And I'm like, "Well, I think I'm supposed to be happy because
Oh
it's a good
God.
job," and like all those
On
expectations
paper,
that are
other people are
Mhm.
dying for this position, and other people
Exactly.
would
And so
love to be doing this, and I shouldn't
there's a
waste the opportunity, and whatever we rationalize
exactly.
bullshit for staying too long after things have.
I know. Well, so there's all that guilt there, right? Of like, the guilt of not meeting expectations, or like, why can't I be happy? What's wrong with me? And what I realized was I was denying my calling because I was
Okay.
doing psychic readings on the side, on the
Oh, I
down
know.
low.
That's my life, yeah.
Yeah.
Down
And
the
so
readings.
I had been told by several people, like, you are meant to be doing such and such work. Like, you're going
Yeah,
to be a very successful healer. You're going to be doing this and this and this. And I'm like, I want to believe you, but that is a far stretch from where I am right now.
from
So I
point A
had
to
a lot
point
of
B.
fear. Yeah. I had a ton of fear about making that transition. And of course, people are going to think I'm crazy, right? So
Because you're like, what do you like? How do I even go from switching up the menu like that? Like
I mean,
just
it's like
scrapping
two ends.
everything. Yeah,
It's
you're
like it's
scrapping
like the
everything and like starting over.
and it's like opposite ends of the spectrum, really.
Yeah.
So I spent about 2 years feeling really awful. Like, I started to get very sick,
Mm.
and it's okay because my body was telling me, why are you denying what your spirit is telling you? And I understand that 100% fully now. And I ended up taking a year to go to a 50% reduction in my position to try to get my health back on track. I
Okay.
mean, I had adrenal fatigue, I had thyroid issues, my hormones were all fucked up because I was stressed. And so when it came time, and all during that time, I kept thinking, like, I can do this if I could stay at 50%. I can manage this and then do the other things that really make me happy. Like, I was totally rationalizing it. And it came time for me to ask my boss and the dean for an extension, or like a permanent amendment to make my position 50% permanently, or to, like, what was I going to do? And so I asked my boss if she could advocate for me to recreate my position as just half-time. And she said, okay, I'll do that. I'll go ask the dean. And then in that time, I wrote a letter to the universe, and I basically said, this is where I'm at. I'm unhappy. I'm sick. This isn't good. I need better balance. And I don't feel very fulfilled in what I'm doing. So I listed out all these things that I was feeling, and that I just really, at this point, I don't know what to do. And I really, really need help figuring that out. And so then I went through the letter and I said, I need to, like, if I'm going to make a big jump, I need to make sure my family is supported with an income that helps us stay comfortable. Like, we don't want to get into another situation that's going to cause stress. I need to make sure I'm helping people. I want to feel fulfilled in the
Yeah.
work that I do. I want to be surrounded by people, whether they're colleagues or friends or other people that I collaborate with, that are like-minded and full of love, and we collaborate easily. And so I had all these parameters. I want to be happy. I want to feel like I'm in service. I
Yeah.
want to not be impatient with my children, right? And so I listed all that stuff out, and I didn't have anything really specific other than just, please support me. Like, please hold me, show me the way, and hold me while I take these steps. I wrote that letter. Within a week, my boss came back to me and said, I talked to the dean. She said, you either come back full time or you don't come back at all. And I was like, wow, that was fast. I got an answer really fast. And then I realized, oh, I'm totally replaceable here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm replaceable. And it wasn't a big deal to them. And so I sat with it for a few days, and I realized, I actually did some visualization, like, spirit, show me what will happen if I stay for another couple years at full time. And I was shown all these images of me like withering and dying. Like I was a vine with a bunch of flowers and flourishing. And then I just saw the flowers wilting and the leaves dying and
There you
crumbling.
go.
And yep. And so I knew, and I told my husband, and he's just like, you're going to what? You're going to quit your job? What? And I explained it to him, and he knew I wasn't terribly happy. And actually he said I was downright miserable and it was hard to be around me. So
Wow.
something had to change. I was not happy. I was really burdened by this. And
it weighs on you when that's something that's constantly in your thought process every single day, and you're fixated on going around in circles.
Yep.
You're not pleasant because you're not present.
Nope. And you want to talk about feeling stuck and lost? I was there. And I mean, it was like I was at the point of such surrender to this because I didn't know what the fuck to do. And I felt like I was too young to be burdened this way. Like I needed to be using whatever my gifts were to help people. And so that's what I said. Universe, like, I know we can make this happen, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. You have to lead the way.
Yeah.
And so I wrote my resignation letter. And then the next day I got an offer to learn energy healing, which I had been trying to find a teacher for the past 6 years and no one would teach me. So that was amazing.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, I met somebody who did a reading for me, and immediately she asked me what I did as a healer. And I said, nothing. I don't do anything as a healer. And she said, no, you do this. Like you have this gift of blue flame in your hands. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go through Reiki training. And she's like, that's just the beginning. And then she explained to me all these things that were going to happen if I followed that path. And she was fucking right. Like everything she said.
I love it.
Yes. And I will tell you this, I went through Reiki training the day after I stopped teaching. Oh, and my older son, who's super psychic anyway, he said to me, Mom, do you remember when you lost your voice? I mean, he was like singing a Star Wars song, right? And like all of a sudden he stopped.
That's so funny. I've been having so many signs for Star Wars this week too.
Oh, it's cosmic, right? And he, like, out of the blue, he said, Mom, do you remember when you lost your voice? And I would lose my voice for weeks at a time because in that job, I could not actually be my authentic self. I could not speak my truth.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, buddy, I do remember when I lost my voice. And he's like, you have your voice back now. You have your voice again. I know. And that was just like, and then he went back to singing this song again. And I was like, holy shit, that was a total.
Mama has her voice back.
And that's what the universe does, right? Like you get messages through random people. You have synchronicities show up when you ask to be shown the way.
Yeah.
The universe will align to help you find your path through this, but you have to trust.
Totally.
And, moving into this healing work, we never once had a month where we were suffering, right? Like all the bills were always met. There were a couple of months that were tight when I first started, but it was like the universe provided every single thing that I needed, everything that was in that letter. I have it now. And it's like, I have such gratitude for that process. So that's magical as fuck. So that's why I tell people do this, but it's
trust me.
It is
just trust me.
Yes. It's an active surrender though. It's not trust me, it's trust the universe. Like you do this, you put this on paper, you speak it as your truth. It's going to come to you. Like the universe will do whatever it needs to orchestrate how it needs to get you to take those steps, but you have to be willing to take the steps. So that's my story about writing a letter to the universe.
I cannot wait to write my letter. I used to journal every day. And so I feel like that was kind of part of what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that process, but it's been a long time. I stopped journaling, just the last decade. It's not anything like it used to be before, where I would journal 1, 2, 3 times a day and just constantly pour out my thoughts. And it was a really magical time in my life. at that point, and then I tucked it all away. I lost my voice. So I'm excited to do this and to write it because there's like I'm a list maker, and so
Mm-hmm.
this will be good for me to finally get the things that are, under the
Mm-hmm.
surface and just kind of put them out there and admit to
Mm-hmm.
myself and admit out loud like where it is that I am stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then like I want to see how it's all because I want to see how it's all gonna come together because I know
Yep.
my life is magical as fuck and like there's all kinds of crazy shit that happens to me on a daily basis.
Yes, it
Um,
is. Yes, it
so
is.
I know my life is just a living testimony to how magical things can be when
Mm-hmm.
you are open, willing, and you have to ask and you have to receive it. So,
Yeah, and yes, so you have to be open to receiving and you have to be aware. Like you have to start paying attention to the world around you. And what I love about this process is it's so deliberate. It forces you to stop and be in a space where you think about what's going on for you. You sit in your feelings about where you are in life and you really just try to sort through it, not to understand it, but just to say this is where I'm at. And you're being very,
observation and
yeah,
in
you're
in tracking. I mean, even when you have
mhm,
progress on anything, you have to start somewhere and by
mhm,
tracking where you're at because
mhm.
I mean, what good is a map if you don't even know where the you are here is? How do you know? Like,
Exactly. Yep. And so what this does for you is it creates a very authentic space for you to be honest about where you are and what you want to bring into your life. And we're so distracted in our lives that we feel like we hardly have time to be in
oh my God.
our skin and be with our thoughts and be like have our own awareness about what's going on for us. So to actually sit down and write out, this is where I'm at and it doesn't feel awesome and I need your help, and in fact I'm expecting your help. Like there's
Yeah,
another misconception is that like God, the universe, the angelics, our guides, whatever entities we're connecting with, like there's this misconception that we need to revere them and beg or plea for like our good fortune, when in actuality all of those all of those divine helpers, they're waiting for us to
yeah,
say we're ready. Like they're waiting to serve, they're there in service to us. Our guides are there to be in service to us. They don't want to be worshipped. They want to be seen as a tool, as a resource to help us along our spiritual path. And they just are on the other side, like our cheering squad, right? But they're also there for like the pep talk, and they're also there for like the plays,
yeah,
like, okay, what play am I using now? And you
yeah.
check in with your squad, right? And then we move further on in life. So you don't, like, this isn't begging the universe for something to change, because begging is also coming from a place of
Desperation.
fear and lack and desperation.
Yeah.
This is you saying, okay, I've done this part, it doesn't feel right now, I need a little bit of help wayfinding. So could we talk about this? Could you show me the way? Could you give me some nuggets? And I promise you I will do the heavy lifting here. Just show me the direction. So it's not the universe doing the work for you necessarily. It's you saying, I'm ready. The universe says, oh, fuck yeah, here we go. It's game time. And then you get shown all these steps that you can take, but you're only shown like 2 or 3 or 4 at a time. And then the universe is like, okay, is she going to do it? Is she going to do it? Oh my God, oh my God, she's doing it. She's taking the steps. And then 4 more steps show up, and it's like
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. As long as you're ready to commit to that direction, whatever, and you follow your heart through the process, right? Like, because some things are going to feel better than others, and you may have multiple opportunities coming up. But
Dude.
yeah, right. So it's about like you saying, I'm ready to be led. Let's do this as a team. And that's what it's about. It's not about like, I'm on this predestined path and I
Yeah.
don't have any control. We have control over how we want to feel in this process. And if we want to go kicking and screaming and being dragged, or if we want to do this with a heart wide open. This letter to the universe is you cracking your heart wide open and saying, I am ready. Show me the magic. And that's what
Dude.
those like Pam Grout books are about, like the E squared and E cubed. She's
Uh-huh.
not saying it in terms of like the universe. She's basically saying, okay, let's play with this field of potentiality is what I think she calls it, the FP. And she's basically
Field of
talking about the universe,
potentiality.
right? She's
Fucking
just
dope.
doing it in like more
Yeah.
PC terms, right? So it's about experimenting with your energy and remembering that you're a divine being that just happens to be squished down into this human dense form, trying to remember how to be an alchemist.
This dense ass world we live in. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
So yeah,
my like,
remembering how to manifest our or manipulate our energy.
yeah. And we can go into more depth about manifesting in another episode, and also intention setting, because there's some parameters that around intention setting that really make them a lot more powerful if you
Okay.
invoke those. And if you're coming at those intentions from your logical mind versus your heart, and it
Oh,
makes a
okay.
huge difference when you're coming from the heart space. But so yeah, that's how you write a letter to the universe. And I would be so curious, like if people decide that they want to do this, and then
Yeah.
they can share their stories, like where they're at. They can share their story of where they're at, and then they, what happens after they write their letter to the universe.
Yeah,
Maybe we
I
do
would
that in our Facebook group.
definitely. I was thinking, so wherever their level of comfort is. So if they are on the Anchor app, there's a way where they can record a voice message and send it to us if they
Oh,
wanted to
cool.
have us include it into the episode where, if you keep it vague, you don't have to drop all your personal info. But if you want to tell your story of what you wrote and how things are happening or
Hmm.
changing quickly, you could do it through the Anchor app. Um, you know, screenshots or picture, whatever you want to share. If you want to share a piece of what you talked about in your letter and then how it affected you, whatever. If you want to dump it in the group, if you want to DM, email, I'm so curious to hear what happens when a group of souls focus on similar things or energy, and like what can
Ah.
happen all at once if we all set our hearts to surrendering and like, okay, we're here. Because I know even like in the process of becoming a medium or remembering that I'm a medium, it was like, okay, like that was the exact, I don't know what I'm doing or how do I even do it, but I know that I'm here to help people,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
let's roll with it, whoever you bring into my life.
exactly.
So with this, I already have some specific things that I want to aim
Hmm.
for that I need to discuss at length.
With,
Parts of
yeah, in your
Yeah,
letter.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So I will for
Just,
sure follow up next week and let you know how it goes.
oh, that's
So if
awesome.
anybody
Just
else would
remembered.
like to,
Yeah. And just remembering too, those basic elements, right? Like focus on how you're feeling now and why it doesn't feel good. Focus on then like um, the way you do want to feel, what you want to bring in. So rather than specific items or things or situations, you focus on what you want to bring in terms of feeling. I want to feel good. I want to feel happy. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to have relationships with like-minded people, right? That's not very specific, but it's still telling the universe what
mhm,
you're hoping for. And then really also including what it is that you need in order to feel supported. So you can say those things, just don't say it with so much specificity that it eliminates a lot of options for
true.
you. So I need
Yeah,
an
you don't want to
income
set your
that
filter
supports
so,
me. Yeah.
you don't want to set your filter so high that it's like no matches found.
Yes. You have one possibility out of
You're like, oh shit. Yeah.
5,862,342. Yes. So that's why you let the universe, configure all of that. And you just say, show me all the possibilities for how this could meet what I'm hoping to embody. And that it's super fun, and approach this even though you may not be in a place where you feel awesome, right? Like a lot of people who
Right.
do this are feeling really stuck and lost. Treat it like a game, right? Like, okay, here you go, the ball is in your court. I told you what I need and how I'm feeling and what I would like to embody. Now you show me like what you got, like what do you got hidden in that hat of yours, pull it out. So it's like, try to create a fun adventure out of it, and while you're waiting for those things to show up. So Spirit, show me what's possible, show me the way. And something else that I tend to, well, I say this every day anyway, I am ready to step into the next phase of my divine life's work. And
Ooh.
yes, and that is a very powerful affirmation, which can be included in your letter to the universe. You're basically saying, I'm here, I'm aware, I know I came here to do good work. Whatever that is, you make it clear to me and I will do it. I'm ready to step into the next phase. And we have our plan, right? And we have stages in our plan. And we can say that every day of our lives until we die, and it's going to be relevant, because at one stage, it may be our divine life's work to have our babies and raise them until they're more self-sufficient. And then it might be our divine life's work to go be a teacher for a little bit. And then it might be our divine life's work to start a business that helps women, I mean, just we
Right.
can have these different stages. So keep that as keep your eye.
Yeah, I think as long as we let go of the idea of how things are supposed to be and
Mm-hmm.
what we thought our lives were supposed to be 10, 15 years ago, where we're like the American dream and this and that. And if you just let all of that go and realize, like, you know what? Sometimes people aren't forever. Sometimes jobs aren't
No.
forever. Sometimes homes
Mm-hmm.
aren't forever. Like this, whatever it is, like if you open heartedly, I love that. I'm ready to step into the next phase of my divine life's work. Okay, I wrote that down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a powerful one. And I like to tell people too, often there's something to the old adage, be careful what you wish for, right? Because
Yeah.
it may not be what you need, right?
I'm so
So
glad I haven't been rewarded with some of the stuff that I wished for. Woo!
I mean, there's lessons in everything, right? But
Yeah.
what it teaches you is you don't need a level of specificity based on what you think it needs to look like. It can look so many different ways and still provide you, if not, exponentially more happiness, satisfaction, fulfillment, et cetera, et cetera. Something else that I say is, thy will be done through me today, which is also a statement to the universe that I am here and I know I'm meant to do work to help serve. And I know that when I'm in that service, it will feel fulfilling to me. So use me as that conduit.
That's
And
good.
yep. And that has helped bring me into so much alignment with my work. And it just puts you in a place of a lot less resistance and worry about where you're at and why, and a whole lot more trust and surrender that you are where you are because that's where you're needed and that's where your lessons are. So,
All right.
yeah,
Super excited.
I
So
know. We
I will
can't
check back
wait.
in on our next recording. I'll let you know how my week goes after I write my letter this weekend. Um,
I can't wait to
yeah.
hear from people who are listening, see what they come up with. That's going to be
Yes.
so
Thank
much
you.
fun.
We appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you exchanging your time and energy and sharing your words and your feedback and
Mm-hmm.
sharing your life experiences with us is very humbling. Um, I know I don't always my response rate is really, really slow right now. I'm at the end of my wedding season and I'm just trying to avoid the burnout and stuff. So
Mio
I can't
hustles a lot.
I cannot wait to finally have a season of rest if that's in the cards for this winter, because then I can focus and book more readings and help people through the holiday kind of the grief and the stuff that comes attached to celebrating holidays without their loved ones and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yep.
um, if you have
Oh.
messaged me about a reading, spirits, timing, when I'm supposed to read it and when I'm supposed to read for you, it will all align and it will all be just the right timing for when you need to hear the message. So thank you for your patience in that.
Look at you stepping into surrender and trust. All in
It's
divine
11:44.
timing. Yay, of course it is. Oh, thank you guys for listening again. And please, send us your comments and feedback. And we look forward to chatting with you again.
Yay.
See you
Bye.
later. Thanks for for joining us for another episode of Souls and Stardust. Connect with us on Instagram at Gratitude Maven and at Your Intuitive Friend. Until next time, stay
Stay magical.